Hi, welcome to another episode of The Pipeline. My name is Carlos Concepcion, CSO at IDXBoost.com, a company that helps real estate professionals across the US and the world brand themselves and generate a new pipeline of traffic for their business. Today, I have a very special guest on the show. His name is Ryan Knowles, and he's the director and owner of a luxury broker in Bahamas. Welcome, Ryan, to the pipeline. The pipeline is, like I was telling you before we started shooting, a show for real estate agents and the real estate industry in general to get to know top producers and team leaders across the world at this point that have successfully created a real estate business out of their real estate career. And today's the moment that I've been waiting for quite some months, the ability to talk to you, Ryan, owner
Sure.
and CEO of Maison Bahamas,
Yeah.
real estate brokerage, luxury real estate brokerage out of Bahamas. And Ryan, tell us a little bit more about you and what brought you into the industry.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I want to say thank you so much, Carlos, for having me on your podcast. It has been a long time coming. So thank you for being patient and waiting all these weeks. Um, my journey in real estate has been a very interesting journey. So I started in real estate when I was 19 years old. I just actually dropped out of college. So I went off to school and thought I was going to get a degree and maybe move to a big city like New York or Los Angeles and work for a big corporation. Um, but everyone's journey is different. And for me, I realized that, college and school wasn't for me. I preferred to be in the real world, working, learning from the people who do it best. And so I came back home and was working in a hotel and just by chance ran into a real estate broker who happened to be one of the very top real estate brokers in the Bahamas. And he took a liking to me. We kind of hit it off. And by the end of the conversation, he was offering me a job to work for him. So that's how I got my start at 19. I worked for him for 3 years as his assistant. Eventually got my own real estate license at 22 or so and worked my way up into the industry. I think in some ways I had it a little bit easier than other people because I was working for him. I learned everything from him, and I had a great head start as far as knowing how to deal with clients, learning about the market, getting that big break into the high end part of the market, which is what he specialized in. And so when I started, my first year of sales, I think I sold around 15 million in my first year, which was pretty good at the time. So yeah, worked my way up. Eventually, I left that company and went to work for a bigger company, a bigger real estate company here in Nassau, which was Christie's of the Bahamas, where I was the top producer for 5 years. I was there 7 years and top producer for 5 years. And then kind of, wanted a different challenge. I'd been selling real estate for about 10 years by that point. And, was going through the motions a bit, realized I want to do my own thing at some point. I really want to branch out, maybe create my own team, eventually have my own brokerage. So in 2019, I left Christie's to form my own team, which went well, but also the timing wasn't the best because we went right into COVID, and COVID happened early 2020, which totally shut down our country, obviously affected our market quite a bit. Ironically, it ended up being a boost at the end because a lot of people from big cities like New York and Toronto and other places left those cities because they wanted to get out of the city and be, in a beautiful island. They can go on the boat, they can walk on the beach, even though it's still COVID. So it actually ended up helping us quite a bit, but it took a few months for that to actually catch on. And during that time, I just built my business up, building my team through 2020 and going into 2021. And then sort of midway through 2021, I decided with a partner that I was going to start my own brokerage. And we linked up with Forbes Global Properties, which I'm sure you're aware of, which is an amazing network powered by Forbes. And we launched January of this year, January 1st.
No, and I
Yeah,
mean, to touch on a few things that you mentioned, I think that one of the clear indicators is there is a difference of, being a real estate agent to turn it into a business and a career and a brokerage.
yeah,
And we're going to talk about the market after the pandemic because we know how it reshaped the way people look for homes and what are people are looking for, right?
totally.
But when it comes to your new endeavor as a business owner with Forbes, what do you do to stand out to now that you weren't part of, just you as an agent, you had to provide for others. What do you do to get more business in your market, to stand out of the competitors? How do you handle that through the pandemic?
Yeah, great question. Great question. So for us, everything that we did when we started the new company, Maison, was we wanted to be different. We wanted to make sure that there was a clear difference between what we were doing and what everyone else was doing. And everyone else, they do good marketing. There's nothing against what they do. It's traditionally worked over the years. But, we wanted to add some flair and some flavor and a little bit of, sizzle to real estate marketing. I spent a lot of time in Miami. I spent a lot of time in New York, and just learning from what some of the great, agents and great brokers there do, whether that's, video marketing that's at a super high level and very creative and just, showing off different aspects of the property. Obviously, our affiliation with Forbes is also a differentiator because no one else has that affiliation. And so for all of our listings, especially our high-end listings, we can get articles in Forbes. We get promotion through Forbes where we get our listings on the website. So from a seller's perspective, if we're working with a seller, there's a lot more that we can offer them that the average agent can offer them. And then, to be honest with you, Carlos, the website with you guys has been great. We've gotten so many reviews from other agents, from buyers, sellers, who just love the website. They love the way it looks. They love how easy it is to use. And then, of course, we're getting actual leads from the website as well. So that's helped quite a bit. For a new company, that's super important that the website doesn't just look good, it's actually generating business for us already.
I think it also goes from the main challenge of what should an agent do to prosper their business in 2022. And marketing is a big thing for a real estate business. And I think that one of the things that you did very well was you invested in yourself, you invested in your brand, and you
Yeah,
made sure that you had a solid representation of your business for anybody that's looking in your market, to
yeah,
allow you to stand out as well with your processes and your team. um,
yeah.
but
We
I
took.
think that's go ahead, sorry.
No, I was just gonna throw in. We took a long time. You remember, I would come over to Miami and I would hit you up and I would say, "Hey, let's meet." But it took us months of
Right.
conversations with you, and then once we signed up, months of development to build out the website. We really took our time. We didn't want to rush it at all. And the same thing went for all of our marketing, our logo, our branding, all of that. We really took our time with. We could have launched earlier or sooner, but we knew that we only had one chance to really make a strong impression and make sure we nailed the marketing. And I think for the most part we did, but I think so far we're on the right track.
I agree with you. I agree with you. I think you're at the forefront of the race. If there is a race in the Bahamas, you're at the forefront, and your business is definitely shown that with the results. Now, Ryan, I want to ask you, and we were just talking about this a minute ago, but the entire world shifted after the pandemic and after the recent crisis. So we saw a lot of the market go into a different lifestyle of living, right? We saw a lot of people from the US, like you were saying, North America, even South
Hmm.
America, that were looking for luxury lifestyle by the water in the islands in different third countries. So, what is your perspective from Bahamas of the traffic that you receive? How do you see the market behaving for you? What are the main challenges of your market, and how do you see moving forward in the next few years?
Yeah, so for us, we definitely saw the effects of COVID in our market. Initially, like I said, things shut down completely. There was basically no travel or very limited travel to the island. Only basically emergency travel was allowed for the first couple of months or so. Um, and then after that, once things opened up, there was like a flood of people who came. So New York City, in particular, was huge for us. We had, dozens and dozens of people. And remember, we're on a small island. So for us, if we have 100 people come, it makes a big impact in the market. If we have 100 buyers come in 1 month, or 100 renters, it makes a huge impact. So we had dozens of people coming to the island looking for properties, specifically looking for properties where they had beach access or waterfront access. So you could either walk on the beach or go on the boat. If you're stuck in a city, no restaurants are open. You can't go to you can't go out to eat. You can't go to see a show. It was kind of dreadful for a while. And I had a lot of friends who were living there and just, they were dying to get out. So for those who were fortunate enough to be able to afford to buy or rent a place here, they loved it. They loved the freedom they got. It's very accessible. We're only 2.5 hours away from New York, direct flights. A lot of them are, have the ability to fly private, which is even more convenient. And relatively speaking, especially 2 years ago when this all happened, you could get a great place on the beach for $1 million, which, for someone coming from a city like New York or LA or even Miami, that's a great price. That's great value.
Yeah.
So I think from that perspective as well, it helped because, they're coming in, they're getting exactly what they want as far as having a place where they can spread out, they can enjoy time with their family. They can still work because you've got great, internet connectivity, and you can still work from home. And you're not having to spend crazy money. You're actually getting a pretty good deal on beachfront, in a lot of cases, beachfront real estate. Now, since then, because there were so many people that came, the market and the pricing has gone up tremendously because most of the supply was purchased. So a lot of that supply that had been on the market for a while or that was coming onto the market was bought up in 2020, the ending of 2020, the end part of 2020, all of 2021, and then even into 2022, there was still a lot of demand. And so now our market is in a place where it's a seller's market still. Pricing is still very high. We're starting to see a little bit of the urgency, I would say, slow down a bit. So buyers are taking a little bit more time to make a purchasing decision, but they're still wanting to come in, and there's a lot of exciting new projects that are coming on stream. A lot of great condominiums, some new developments, both in Nassau and in the other islands, and it's still a great time to buy. To me, we're only at the beginning of an amazing real estate cycle for the Bahamas.
Knowing that, Ryan, I want to ask you about the current state of the luxury market in Bahamas, and how do you, as a business owner and as a real estate brokerage there, foresee the near future for your market? So what can you tell us about that?
Sure. So our luxury market had an incredible run the past 2 years. There was so much demand coming in from mostly North America, folks coming out of big cities looking for places to rent or buy in the Bahamas for a number of reasons. Our proximity was one of the biggest ones. We're the closest point south of the U.S. So, 30 minutes from Miami, 2 hours from New York, 3 hours from Toronto, and direct flight. The other great thing about the Bahamas, obviously, the weather. And
Who doesn't love the weather, Bahamas?
Who doesn't love the Bahamas weather, right? We're 1-to-1 with the U.S. dollar, so you can use the U.S. dollar interchangeably, which is very good for currency. And our market, the high end of the market is still relatively speaking a bargain for people coming from places like New York or Miami, where you might be paying $2,000 a foot, $3,000 a foot. In New York, could be as much as 5 or 6,000 a foot for the top end of the market. Here, you're only paying about 1,000 a foot. So for a luxury condo, so there's great value for money, great accessibility, proximity, and you still have all the services and all the amenities and great restaurants. But you're in the Bahamas with great weather and amazing beaches and all the things that come with being on an island.
And you and I were talking about this before coming into the show, but you were mentioning about some new projects that are coming along. Maybe you want to tell us a little bit more about some of those key projects that you think are going to be the best options when we're looking at the Bahamas now, and what can you tell me on those?
Yeah, so we're really just starting to scratch the surface when it comes to our luxury condo product. Historically, there haven't been that many new buildings built for a number of reasons. One of which was that the government wanted to preserve this scale of the island for the most part. But recently that's beginning to change. And I think we've realized that as we grow as a city, especially in Nassau, we have to change. And that means bigger buildings, a little bit more density, to be able to attract and accommodate all the people that we want to bring to the island. So there are a number of beautiful, beautiful new projects that are coming on stream. One of them that's just about to be completed is called Goldwyn, which is a luxury condo hotel. Half the building is a hotel and the other half is condos. So that's 150 units that range in price from $500,000 all the way up to about $5 million for the penthouse. On a beautiful beach, 10 minutes from the airport, very close to Bahamar, which is a great resort with a casino. And this building will have all the amenities. So its own restaurant, you're going to have a pool on the rooftop, you're going to have a gym, a spa, all the different things you can want, housekeeping, room service. And the other great thing is, if you buy for any purchase above $750,000 in the Bahamas, you can qualify for what's called permanent residency. And you can actually become a resident and be domiciled in the Bahamas. So that's great for folks who are looking to, become a resident. There are a lot of great tax benefits that come along with that.
So many incentives to look at the Bahamas as a home to look forward to. 100%.
Yeah.
Ryan, let me ask you. Through the show, we like to also let other real estate agents that are either starting on the industry or starting to create a real estate business. What are the best practices that you would recommend somebody who is new to the industry today and wants to make a name out of themselves or a real estate career out of their profession? So what would you recommend them to do? What would you recommend them to focus on at that early stages of their career, just for them to give them some more value?
One of the biggest things that I could say, and it's something that helped me so much, is really having a mentor. And that could be one person, that could be a team of people. But if you have the ability to learn from someone who has experience, who's doing the kind of business that you want to do, who has a track record, who's been successful in the industry, that's invaluable. There's only so much you're going to learn from a book or a training program. There's only so much you're going to be able to get out of that. But if you can shadow and really just soak up all of the knowledge and experience that a top agent has, that's going to propel you so far, because these agents have gone through almost everything you can go through as a real estate agent. So they know, what to avoid, what kind of clients you should look for, how to structure your day, how to market yourself. They know what's important, integrity, honesty, being punctual, all these different things that, become second nature after a while. But for someone who's new, they just don't know. They don't know how important certain things are.
Ryan,
So
I love that message. I love that
yeah,
message, and I thank you so much for that.
of course.
Being that said, for any agent that may want to know more from you or where to find you, where they
Sure.
find you? How can they reach out? Give
I'm
them your.
super easy to connect with. So you can find me on Instagram. Everyone's on Instagram these days. So it's at Ryan Knowles Best. So it's my first name, last name, and then the word best. You can find me on Facebook. You can find me on my website, maisonbahamas.com. You can call me on my cell phone. I can give you my
Right
cell
now,
phone
we'll
number.
include all of those phone, not the phone number maybe, but the
Okay.
website and the Instagram
Yeah.
in the show, so they
Okay.
can
There you go.
reach out to you.
Yeah.
But again, Ryan, it's a pleasure for me to share this space with you. I
Definitely.
I believe you are a very young, talented, dedicated business owner, very targeted
Thank
to
you.
your industry, very
Thank you.
knowledgeable about what you do. So it's always a pleasure for me. I really hope that moving forward we can enjoy a second podcast in a
I'd
few
love
months
to.
now, just so we can see where you stand and where your market goes from today. So
Yes.
again, thank you so much for being part of the show, and thank you for being here.
It's been my pleasure, Carlos. Thank you so much for having me, and I can't wait to see what we can accomplish together. And yeah, I look forward to seeing you the next time I'm in Miami.
Looking forward to it.